What's up, Amanda? We're letting people get logged in here. You're the first. Dr. Walker should be here shortly, and then here comes Dr. Walker. Hello, hello. It says you can't hear me yet. There you go. Now we've got audio. Hi. How's everyone doing? We'll wait for another couple minutes here until everybody gets logged in. I'm going to introduce you to my favorite go-to, what do you want to call it? Like guilty pleasure?
Refresher.
It's like sweet, kinda. It's almond milk with a little bit of Mios water in it.
So weird.
Purple.
It's so weird.
And it tastes like candy.
Like cotton candy, like my drink that I like.
It tastes like Nestle, like strawberry quick. You remember that stuff? That was pretty good.
My drink tonight is water with lime juice.
Alkaline. Why is lime important?
Take it away.
I already told you. Alkalinity. It brings your pH levels to a normal level. So we're going to go over Q&A today. I think that I haven't seen any of the questions, so we're going from the blind today. I just want to let you guys know also, we're going to let people continue to kind of source out in here. I did test COVID positive on Monday. I don't know if it's going to affect my cognition or not. Last time I had the COVID virus, I did have some cognition issues. If I do stutter or stammer, it might be that, or if I'm maybe just tired. Maybe, we'll see. I finally got my steps in today. I took the last 2 days off to let myself recover a little bit, and I'm back in the group today. So.
All right, are you ready for the first question? Or are we going to wait?
We'll wait one more minute.
Okay.
How's the weather out there? Amanda, how are you doing? I guess she's going to be a watcher.
Or is she gone? Did she already zoom out?
I don't know. All right, so we'll start. Wait. I want to welcome everyone to, it is July 28th at 7 p.m. 2021. We're going to be going through a Q&A session. And I think we're going to be focusing on primarily nutrition today. Dr. Walker and I are going to go through some questions that were submitted by our athletes that are within our challenge now. And here comes Margaret. We'll let Margaret in.
Yeah.
And we'll be going through and answering questions that are provided. We'll let Margaret kind of filter in here. Hello, Margaret.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Hey,
I think Margaret hit 20 pounds today.
Woo!
Hey.
With one leg.
Hey. 1 foot. I still have another leg. I just can't use it.
Well, whatever.
Do we want to start with her question?
Whatever you're using, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, do we want to start with Margaret's question since she had a great question earlier?
Sure. Fire away.
She's on here. Okay. Margaret, do you want to ask it?
No, I'll let you ask.
Okay. So Margaret sent the question in, and I thought this was a great question for clarification. And she said, based on Coach Brian's video he just uploaded talking about sugar, you say sugar in small amounts is okay and single ingredient items. Does that mean fruit is okay? And then in parentheses, she has in decent moderation, or should we be focusing protein and veggies only?
No, fruit, when paleo first came out and we started talking about paleo and it first came into everybody's viewpoint or, whatever back about 10 years ago, they tried to steer us away from fruit. And, if you follow the genetic significance of what fruit is and how it provided energy for our ancestors, I would say that fruit is okay. There are preferences with fruit. So we like dark colored fruit. Anything that has dark skin is preferred fruit because we want riboflavin and flavonoids. Those two dark colored fruits have those two. Riboflavin is a B vitamin component, and flavonoid is a antioxidant. And dark colored fruits have both. So it's a good opportunity to be able to get both of those. Remember, you want things that have higher levels of density, nutrient density in it. And then, secondary to that, watermelon, cantaloupes, melons are always pretty good, especially for athletic performance. Anybody that's going to have a higher level athletic day, like on 5K Saturday, it's a good idea if you're going to blend up some watermelon to kind of recuperate. There's been a lot of the Brazilians have used blended watermelon for a long time to recover from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. So it's a great way to replenish and recover your carbohydrates and glucose levels after those type of things. Now, I think within our tablet, our backwards triangle, if you watch our nutrition thing, at least 5% of your nutrition, 5 to 10% of your nutrition caloric totals daily should be fruit. So, for instance, if you have 1,500 calories, that means no more than 150 calories should be fruit. Pretty simple.
And so another thing to think about, and this comes from Dr. Gundry's book on it's called The Diet Evolution. And so he gives all kinds of cues to help you remember things about nutrition and foods and how to associate them in your body. And so one of the things he says is that the closer the fruit grows to the equator, the more sugar it contains. So if you think about tropical fruits, those are the ones we would want to stay away from because they have more sugar,
Right.
Just to make it easy to, instead of having to always look it up when you're making a choice on fruit. So like you said, the dark fruits, dark plums, the red plums are great, and berries.
Right.
I didn't mention berries, but lots of berries, blueberries, strawberries.
Blueberries, dark colored grapes, anything that's dark skinned fruits, even strawberries are good. That have those riboflavins, flavonoids, all those type of things that you need to be healthy.
Just because we often talk about these things and we usually have tested them on ourselves. There was a time period where I was trying to get 800 grams of fruits or vegetables and fruits a day in my diet. Instead of just the 500, I was shooting for 800 because I had read some studies with 800. Well, I was using a lot of fruit to get to that 800. And I started noticing the way I felt, like I could feel my blood sugar fluctuating too much. And I did not like it. I did not like the way it made me feel to have that much because It was the sugar that was injected into my system. So, your rule of thumb is much better on the 10%.
Well, I think that probably there was a percentage there that of that 800 grams that probably needed to be adhered to. Is probably something we can work on as far as a definition of, I think
100 grams of bingo.
I think though, 10% of your diet daily should be, you could say 10% is a good model to kind of go with there.
All right, good. Next is more about overall nutrition, and it starts with the broad area of how do we tabulate our calories and macros. So we have a link on our website. Go ahead and talk about that for calories.
So if you go to our website, and I could probably bring up I could screen share and bring it up. Let's see here. Let me do this really quick. So we have our website on shutupclean.com. We have a calculator, a caloric calculator for people for different types of goals. So if you're trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to lose fat, if you're trying to stay even, if you whatever you're trying to eat with it, it will give you the caloric prescription for that. It won't give you the macronutrient prescription. That's what the coach's job is for, but it'll give you a caloric prescription. So this is based on your goals. So I've got my phone kind of running off of or I've got this laptop running off my phone, so it's gonna be kind of slow, but
okay. Well, and so following up on that, while he's pulling it up, I'll just mention, as he said, the macro part is that's where you would get with your coach, and you can make an appointment with Coach Brian to discuss that, and it will be based on your needs, your goals, and then he would give you a breakdown that would go within your more specific caloric goals and macronutrients. But then once you have percentages and you have a prescription prescribed to you, you will have your calories, and then you will have each of your 3 macronutrients, your number of carbohydrates, your number of proteins, and your number of fats. So you have specific grams to follow there.
That's right.
Oh, there's the website.
So if you see the website, it's nice and pretty. If you click on the calorie calculator here, bam, it'll come up. And you can kind of go through and enter in what you're looking for. So I'll do mine really quick. So male, I'm 45. And this also, you can do it empirical or 45. You know, and this isn't, this is actually pretty good science that we've got this thing factored in with it here. So I'm extra active, and my goal is to weight gain. Bam. So 4,800 calories a day. I was sure enough. Last time I ran a calorie intake like that, I gained like 20 pounds in like 2 weeks. Oh, I was so slow. All right. So that's a good, kind of a good caloric. Now, you know, I could also flip it over and say I want to lose weight loss, and it's going to put me at 3,100 calories a day.
Okay.
So,
so that's a great to start.
I could probably change the definition that to very active. I'm not extra active. I'm not running a 5K every day, but I'm walking a 5K. You know, you have to kind of play with it. You guys know what your TDE is, and so that should make sense for you as you program it in there. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that helps. This is a great little tool.
I think so too. Okay, so then the following with that, you, as I said, once you get your specific prescription, when you meet with your coach and you talk about your goals and all those things, you will be given specific carbohydrate, protein, and fat grams, goals of that. And that's your prescription within your calories that you will follow each day. So the next question was, and I'm going to read it because I will say it wrong if I don't, if I can find it now. Okay. So her question is, I'm always short on protein every day. How can I get more protein without adding lots more calories from fats and carbohydrates?
You know, typically we give people a prescription toward your macros. So it's going to be in a 40-30-30 split. Depending on the person's goals, the percentages kind of change a little bit, and that's our intellectual property. But for instance, if I have someone broken down in a 40-30-30 split of fat, protein, and carbohydrate, a good way to kind of formulate that is to start to practice with it. You know, you may have to look at your protein goals and start there. So if your protein goals are 120, then you would, you know, start to put in what you're going to be eating for the day. So you can look at having, I know 120 grams would be 2 scoops of protein powder, which is 50, 1 4-ounce thing of chicken breast, which will take you to 80, right? And then if you do another one, that should take you to almost 120. So you can kind of see how that comes out at that point. So then you can just kind of work your rest of your day around how much grams of fat and carbohydrate you have after that. So that's kind of the way I always start. In my head, I build it around my protein because that's the most important thing. I know that I have to get into my system. So and then it's easy to plug in carbohydrate because all you got to do is make some oatmeal or eat a couple of things of fruit or whatever you want to add into your shake. As you're doing this, you remember we provide on the VPT model, we provide a template. So the template has your exact macros in there. So as you play with it, you should be able to become more intuitive about what you can eat, and then start to kind of vary out from our template from there. But we want you to stay as close as possible to what we prescribe, so that it doesn't become problematic or confusing. Because then there's a lot of what ifs kind of kick in there. So, we want to keep things simple for you so you can stay, limit the amount of confusion that goes on.
Another thing, when you were talking about starting with your proteins, you could also then break it down into your meals during the day. So going back to the 120 grams, you could think of it as if you were going to have 30 grams, shoot for 30 grams of protein per meal plus a 30-gram snack. So that as a way to know and kind of divide it up during the day instead of waiting until the end of the day and being like, I've only had 30 grams of protein. Now I need 90 more before I go to bed tonight.
Yeah. I think building your day, to me, I think because the protein is the most significant issue for most people, starting building your day around your protein with the idea that I need to get my protein first is the way to go.
Very good. Okay. And let's see. Okay, then and I kind of addressed this week in our group, but this is what I'm hit with sometimes is people will say, but you don't eat breads. Like they kind of leave it like a question, kind of a statement, kind of like, do you? They're waiting to hear about that. And so what do we think about bread?
Bread is problematic.
Bread is problematic. Why?
So if we're sticking with our idea of one ingredient foods, then therefore bread is not one of those things.
Okay. So no bread. So no, we don't eat bread.
I'm not going any further than that, because if I open up the Pandora's box on bread, people are going to be eating dum-dums and whatever.
Well,
it's better to leave that door closed. Most people have an addiction to carbohydrate and sugar, and bread is one of those things that's a trigger for it. And definitely it affects your magnesium levels, so it's better to just stay away from it. Now, if you were to be in your position like Dr. Walker and I, where you're at your adequate levels of your aesthetics and you're healthy, then you can integrate some bread into your diet. But you have to be then careful as well. If that's one of the things that triggers you, then it's probably a no-go. For me, it's a no-go. I don't have it in the house. So every once in a while, just to add some extra fiber in my diet, I will get some like Dave's Killer Bread, 21 grain oat, and I'll eat 1 or 2 slices a day, just to kind of throw in some extra fiber in my diet. But there again, they beat down fiber in our head. But really, if you're eating 500 grams of vegetables a day, you're going to far exceed your fiber allowance. So, keep that in mind. If you're going to use the excuse, I need fiber, you don't really have to worry about it if you're eating vegetables.
Well, and that's what, like you said, it's better just to not have it. I think Margaret was talking about, this was in the Facebook discussion in our group, about her boys being tempted because she made her kids sandwiches to eat their sub sandwiches. And
Right.
So I would be tempted as well, just because I'm really bad when I am making food, just to kind of nibble on, take a bite,
Right.
try it, whatever. So I just can't have it, because I don't want to eat it. And so I just don't buy that, though, like sub rolls or whatever. And that kind of go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to go into another question that I get sometimes, but
one thing to think about your kids, and especially with sugar, you're introducing your kids to a gateway drug when you're throwing a lot of sugar into their diet. And there's a lot of there's a lot of data that shows that ADHD and anxiety and things like that with children is all connected to sugar, and especially the connection of magnesium deficiency that sugar causes. So, think about that next time you're going to the store and buying a bunch of juices and sugars and candies and stuff like that. You're just providing a drug for your children. I have my conspiracies, that I believe in, and there's some truth to the how much addiction that is connected with sugar. It's shown through studies that the level of addictive properties of the sugar is similar to cocaine. So ask yourself this question: would you give your kid a cocaine cookie? No. So get rid of them damn cookies.
Well, and that's the other kind of question that I get, casual questions, is things like, well, if you're eating all of these certain foods, then what about your family? Well, my immediate thought is, if we know these foods are healthy, why would we not feed whatever these foods are? Why would we not want our family to have those same foods? So that's like my initial thoughts on that. But
I think it's like the gateway drug thing. Once you establish and allow your kids to start having those gateway drugs, then they want more. So if they've never had it, then they never know, that the green beans don't taste good.
I
know it's difficult, and it's going to be a fist fight, but if they don't know what it tastes like, then it's not going to be a big deal for them. You just got to eliminate it.
It was the kind of a funny story. My older boys, when they were little, they went to a neighbor's house and they were playing, and they had lunch with them that day. And they came home and they were telling me, they said, we had the best hot dogs ever. And I was like, really? And they said, yeah, it was so good. And I said, well, what kind of hot dogs were these? And they kept saying it had the best bread on it. It had all this. And so I asked the neighbor, I said, okay, the boys have told me they had the absolute best hot dogs they've ever had. She said they were the little pink Ziegler hot dogs,
Really
wrapped in white loaf bread. But they had never had white loaf bread or those little pink hot dogs. And so they were just like, they're like, this was the best thing we had ever had. And it was white loaf bread with hot dogs. But anyway, so
that's my preferred way to eat hot dogs myself.
Well, so going back to that though, is the way I look at it is you don't have to stress yourself out of having multiple food options for different people in your family. If you know you're cooking healthy or making healthy and preparing healthy foods, then why not just have everybody eat it? Not everyone has to be on the same caloric prescription.
Right.
Like my 14-year-old, I try to feed him at a level to where he is because I know he's growing, and I don't watch his caloric intake, but he eats the same foods that I eat, just maybe more of it to try to help sustain his growth right now. But
right.
Still, like, he drinks almond milk. He, doesn't have loaf bread.
Right.
So anyway, my thoughts are just everybody eat the same thing, and then just make it.
There is some truth to trying to get the caloric totals that your children need in there too. Which it becomes kind of hard. Especially if you're on the go mother and all you have is the availability of snacks and things like that too. But those things are okay. But when it comes to dinner, we need to stick with the one ingredient foods. Especially for the children. We don't want to let them have that first dose of that gateway drug, and that's it.
Okay. The next question was, again, more on nutrition, and it was, what are some good healthy ways to incorporate more fat into my diet?
I'm a big fan of olive oil, especially in protein shakes. Also, I like putting walnuts in my protein shakes. So that's a good place to start. You want monounsaturated fats. You want fats that are going to cause you to not be inflamed. Saturated fats, which is like, red meat fats, those type of things are there for your body to help build things, and they have their place. But the majority of your fat, I would say 60%, should be the monounsaturated, the olive oils, the fish oils, those type of things. That's going to help you be healthy, especially for your cardiovascular health. It's really good for your heart. So
Okay.
stick with olive oils, avocados, nuts, those type of things.
Okay. All right. And then the last question kind of that I've had sent in, and then we can think of others, I'm sure, is what is the best way to prepare vegetables? It says, do they have to be raw or can they be cooked?
And to be intellectually honest about it, uncooked vegetables have the most nutrition. Now, it becomes problematic. It doesn't taste as good sometimes if you cook it. So then people are going to ask questions like, well, then how much raw should they eat, and all that kind of stuff. What I want you guys to really focus on is just try to get as much vegetable as you can in now, and try to adjust your palate. So for me personally, I love garlic sriracha by Weber. I put it on my vegetables. It makes it taste wonderful. So, and I cook it in my Ninja grill. So it blanches it enough through the steam of the vegetable to make it soft enough so that it's almost as if it's been grilled, and then it makes it palatable. So now you can blanch it with steam, or you can throw it in a pot and boil it. I think boiling is probably the least best way of cooking a vegetable, because most of the nutrients are going to go in the water, and you're going to pour the water out. So if you're gonna cook a vegetable like that, I wouldn't recommend making a soup out of it. That way, you're still going to be eating the nutrients that go into the water that cook with the meat. And there's an old saying like bottom of the pot or something, and I can't, but I can't remember how the saying goes, but basically they would just keep the pot cooking and just throw some vegetables on top of it on a daily basis back in the days. And so the bottom of the pot or whatever was the best or something, I don't know. But it's kind of the same thing with us. You want to make sure that you don't want to boil it. So, and if you're going to boil it, make a soup out of it.
Okay. I love soups, and so that's one thing I do sometimes, like kind of at the end of the week when I'm cleaning out my fridge, is I'll take my vegetables that I have left, and if I have some chicken cooked, or whatever, I'll throw that in a pot for real, like just some water, some vegetables, and some chicken, and just kind of cook it a little bit, enough to tenderize the like mushrooms, carrots, onions, things like that.
Right.
And it's funny because I really like it. Like I like eating it, especially in the winter, not so much in the summer. But I'll have people ask me, they're like, but what else do you put in it? But what else do you put in it? I'm like, basically, you're just eating a salad with a little water on it. Like, just whatever vegetables you have, throw some water on it, heat it up.
Right.
And it's great. And then
Right.
you can, you kind of take care of your leftovers.
But also, you still want your leafy greens. You want your own cooked leafy greens. They have their place in our lives. There's a gene we have called the methylator gene, MFTHR, that provides a lot of assistance in carcinogens and free in your body manufacturing cancers and things like that. So those greens help with that. So you want to get adequate levels of greens in. So, do what you can to get as much vegetables in, but the highest level of health would be at least 500 to 800 grams of raw vegetables a day. So if you can tolerate it, get at it. If you can tolerate, I think Dr. Walker does a great job at eating raw vegetables. You can tell in her physique, she carries almost zero inflammation in her body. So she's a 45-year-old mother of 3, CrossFits and does additional programming I provide, and also she gets her steps every day in her body. She doesn't complain of pain. So that goes toward the point of, like, if you want to limit pain, you want to limit your sugar intake, processed food intake, and get as much vegetables in as you can. And then you get a template of being able to allow your body to adapt and then be pain free, so you continue to train hard. So there's a process in with that. So
And for me, the best way to keep up with it, because I'm a firm believer, if you don't count it, if you don't, how do you know? If you don't, it's like water intake, it's like anything else. So I started doing, and it's been so helpful for me, is I will go ahead and measure out on Sundays. I'll take my bowls and I will measure out 500 grams of vegetables. And so I have my favorites. I love the mini sweet peppers. I like squash. I like zucchini. I like cucumbers. So I kind of do a combination of that, maybe some carrots. And then I just know that I'm going to eat a bowl of that during the day.
Right.
It can be my snacks. It can be part of my meals. I might break it up over lunch and dinner, whatever. But when the bowl's gone, I know I've had my 500 grams.
Right.
So it's just a way for me to know, like, without having to measure it at each time that I eat.
Right.
So I already know it's in there. And which this is kind of cooking the vegetables a little bit, but we discovered last summer what is so good to me is okra in omelets. So if you haven't tried putting some okra, which okra right now is in season here, so we have quite a bit of it from like my mom's garden and stuff like that. So just put the okra in like you would the other vegetables like onions and peppers or whatever you might put in an omelet. Kind of stir it around a little bit, and then put your egg in on top of it. Cook it. And it is so good. It sounds weird, but an okra in an omelet is really good. And so you can add vegetables to everything that way.
Sounds good. For me personally, I like cutting up squash in medallion form, and then dipping it in hummus. It has almost like a potato chip kind of taste, even though it's kind of cool, but that's a good way to get some raw vegetables in.
And hummus is made from vegetables.
Yeah, so you're just, it's win-win at that point.
Yeah.
It's win-win. All right, I think we're about to hit our 40-minute time limit. So that's the questions for this week. Today is July 28th, 2021. We are in week 1 of the challenge, correct? This is week 1, the first week of the challenge. So we'll be posting this video in there. Hopefully this will record and we'll be able to post it on the YouTube. So we're watching this at a later date. That's where we are. Thanks you guys for joining. Thank you, Dr. Walker, Margaret, and everybody else that attended. And for the questions, we'll be doing some interviews of some clients here, some successful clients. We're really happy about one we're going to be doing pretty soon. That it's one of my proudest people. So we got to get her together and get her questions together and get this set up so you guys can be looking forward to it. But she's a champion. But thank you guys for attending. We'll be talking to you soon. And thanks again.
Thank y'all.
Be careful. Be careful. COVID's running around. Be careful. Take it seriously. Have a good day. Bye.